Now I'd like to show you some gua sha technique. Gua sha is a scraping of the skin in order to bring, again, blood to the surface. So it does cause some bruising. We'll see some bruising as a result of this treatment. But in Chinese medicine, when we bring blood to the surface of the skin, blood and qi to the surface of the skin, it helps to release oftentimes long-term stagnation, tension, and tightness that we find in the muscles. Once again, when you're doing gua sha, as with cupping, as with any other bleeding therapy, we generally like to wear gloves to protect both ourselves and our patients from any bodily fluids that might escape. With cupping and gua sha, oftentimes there are microabrasions, so we want to make sure that we're protected. All right, so let's take a look at this technique now. All right, well, the first thing before we begin cupping or gua sha, one of the things that we might want to look for is whether or not there's any indication of the need for cupping or gua sha. And in this demonstration video, we have already established that there's some tension and tightness in our model's upper back and traps and along the sides of the spine. But one of the visual clues that you can get is some blanching. When you press on the skin, if there's significant blanching, that gives you a pretty good clue. And we can see that if I press close to the spine, there's a little bit of blanching. If I press out here closer to the shoulder, perhaps it's a little bit more. It's hard to say exactly, but there's certainly enough blanching there to give us the idea that cupping or gua sha would be indicated. So we'll start with some cupping. I'm going to take just a little bit of a balm. This is moxa balm, but any kind of oil, any kind of lubricant that helps to make it more comfortable for the patient. It will help to make the cups stick better to the skin, but also if we're going to be doing moving cups, it will certainly make it much more comfortable for the patient. So some kind of an oil. Coconut oil works fine, or sesame oil. I like to use moxa balm because of the fact that moxa has some very strong moving qualities as well as warming qualities, so it will help keeping cold from getting trapped in here after the treatment, which is one of the things that we generally guard against with. After cupping and gua sha, we want to make sure that there's no cold getting into the meridians. So we put a fairly liberal amount of oil on this whole area that we're going to be treating. And then if we're going to use a glass cup, we'll start with a glass cup just to show you that technique. A glass cup with a one of these fireplace lighters or barbecue lighters works pretty good. In order to make this work, if you're going to use a glass cup, the glass cup needs to be right up against the back almost, or up against the skin. We put the heat inside like this, and if you move very quickly, we can create quite a good suction here. And this cup then can be either left in place, or we can do moving cups. And moving cupping will involve sliding the cup back and forth. It gives kind of a cupping massage. You might think of it like that. You're pulling on the skin and bringing blood and qi to the surface, which is the object of cupping. And I don't know if you can see this on the video, but let me explain to you what I'm doing. When you're doing moving cupping, you put some pressure on the trailing edge. So as I move towards Noelle's head here, I'm putting the pressure on this edge of the cup, and when I move back down towards her lower back, I put the pressure on the head side of the cup like that, or vice versa like this. I don't know if I go to the sides. Now let me show you. To release a cup, of course, hold the cup firmly with your hand. Just release, let a little air in there by pushing the skin, and the cup will release. Now we'll take a look at a silicone cup. This is a smaller silicone cup. These are certainly easy to work with. We can get a good strong suction with them just by, as you could see, squeezing the cup, placing on the back. Very simple, easy procedure, and we can get very good results with this as well. And these cups do come in different sizes. I would probably, for doing a large area like this, want to use a large cup. Here's an extra large one, but it works just fine. It fits my hand well, and it fits this area well. Now, while I'm doing this treatment, what you can see is there's a little bit of redness starting to come out, just a little bit of blood coming outside of the vessels and coming to the surface of the skin. And this is a good sign. And with cupping, this is not unusual to see a little bit of bruising like this. If we do gua sha in this area, we will see that we generally will get much more of this bruising in this area. So this opens up the chest, it opens up the meridians. It's a very useful treatment. Cupping and gua sha are probably treatment of choice for tension and pain in between the shoulder blades. Now, I think that covers the basics of cupping. We'll move on to the next topic.